Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Sony Alpha QX1. Now you may have noticed the QX1 looks a little bit different, and that's because right now I actually have it attached to a pistol grip. And I did this because, at least for me, it seems to be an incredibly intuitive fit for the QX1. Now I know Sony intended for this to be a lens-style camera to attach to your phone or tablet. In fact, one of you commented on my unboxing that in Japan they even have tablet mounts now, so those of you worried about it actually being compatible with the Note 4 because the actual included mount doesn't support the width of the Note 4, there are other solutions. But for those of you who are looking to get a little more creative, this is where I see things starting to happen. Now, of course, the QX1 can go places that mirrorless interchangeable lens cameras, especially based around APS-C sensors, could never go before. I mean, think about drone use. So those of you looking to get far better image quality on a drone, this is a great way to do it. And even though it is dependent for the most part over that or on that Wi-Fi connection direct with a controlling device, the reality is that it does have its own capture capability. Now, right now I have a, of course, E-mount lens attached to it because it does natively work with any E-mount lens, both APS-C and full frame. Another really cool advantage to this, so I can really take advantage of my entire E-mount collection. And what's also nice is that there's a lot of budget E-mount glass these days that, at least in the first, I would say the formative years of the mount and its existence, everything wasn't expensive, but things are certainly much softer now. So even a lens like this that originally retailed for $850, again, this is a 10 to 18 millimeter lens, a wide angle zoom, now it can be seen for less, as can most of the glass out there, except for the brand new full frame stuff. Again, you want to stick with APS-C glass on here, but if you have full frame, it will work. So I added the pistol grip, far more natural for me to shoot with this. And for me, I'm not looking to really attach something to my phone like this, although it is a great gimmick and novelty. To me, it's far more interesting to have this as a second or third body, if you will, even though it's nothing like an actual digital SLR or even mirrorless body of traditional form factor, and be able to just pop a lens on it or leave a lens on it, and in this sort of situation, even have it hanging from a strap, which is even better. And this is about a $20 piece. There are a lot of different manufacturers. I did cover this in the past when I purchased it before a trip to Europe. And it really is great for a lot of situations where you need to keep things steady, but this was a whole new purpose for it. So of course, again, here is with the 10 to 18. Let me go ahead and show you how this actually works. So now, just to demo functionality, the QX1 actually works. Once you've got your lens mounted, battery charged up, micro SD card in the slot, essentially all you have to do is take your compatible device, in this case the Note 4, and since I am using the grip, I'm not worrying about actually mounting it, and then you want to look for the NFC contact point on the camera, which you can see is right above the Alpha logo. You then want to touch it to your device. You can see that immediately launched the application, and we already have an image output. So it was really that quick. Let me go ahead and turn this around. You can see I'm filming the camera right now, or phone, excuse me. Little bit of an inception moment for those of you that enjoy that. And really, this works exactly as advertised. In terms of how real time, you can see right now I'm giving you a pretty good demonstration in terms of exactly how real time, what latency is like. Again, there's the hand flip. And, you know, it's not going to deliver what you get with a traditional camera, but when you think about what you're going to be able to do with this as opposed to a traditional camera, that's where things get interesting. So let me go ahead and do a second filming here, a little bit of a wide angle inside of the angle of what settings look like and what controls look like. So you can see easy capture button right there. I just captured a still image of what you're actually looking at. And then when we review the still, we have the ability to share it. It says basically just letting you know that after disconnecting from the shooting device, open an external application to share it. Other things you should know, touch to focus, it does exist here, so you can actually touch a spot to focus. Something that's missing from a lot of mirrorless systems, especially for Sony, on the top end, like the A6000, no touchscreen with touch to focus capability. So that is a nice thing to have. You can see the VG900 over there. You can see basically how quickly I'm able to lock on, switch over. Pretty good. I mean, considering that this again is a unit like this, that's relatively amazing. And it does actually change orientation when you move the camera, as you may have already noticed in the course of this demo. Other things to note, besides touch to focus, of course the shutter button, you can see mode right down here. Your ISO is listed, your aperture, your shutter speed, and then if you go into settings, you can see some of the things you have control over. Camera settings, see in-camera images, touch shutter on or off essentially. Whether you want that, meaning to create an actuation by touching the screen rather than just touching to focus. I'll show you that option right there. Good example there. So now you saw it actually took the photo. Not only did it touch to focus, but then capture it right there on the E-mount. Pretty much tack sharp if you ask me. And we can of course review that photo. And this is what's really amazing about the QX1. You're getting image quality that again is in another league. So while I don't really look at this as the traditional QX of days past, this in my opinion is definitely the most interesting with all of the Sony gear in the background, ironically enough. Jumping back into settings, other things to show you. Continuous shooting settings. You can go with single, continuous shooting, or speed priority continuous. And again, this is not a speed demon. This is not a sports photography machine, but it is really unique because you can throw any lens on this thing that you want, basically, especially with an adapter. Bring out Canon, Nikon, Leica, whatever glass you want, and play with it on here. You have a 20 megapixel APS-C sensor, 1080p at 30 frames, no 60p, unfortunately, in terms of AVC HD capture. Maybe Sony will eventually also drop XAVC on this, although at a $399 price point, I think that might be too good to be true. But again, continuing through settings, control of the flash, because remember, there is an actual flash right here on board, something that was not in the previous generation, so you can actually activate the flash, and I'll show you exactly how that works. It says the flash is off, but let's go ahead and try another touch to focus. Let's go for... Well, the flash did not fire there. It's because the flash is on auto, if you noticed. And now it's touching to focus, which is not what I'm looking to do. I'm going to have to shut that off. So let's go back in there. You can see we have it on auto now, and that's because the flash is now ejected. Before it was not, so it didn't give us the option. But if I put it on, it's now forced on. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and take a shot. Flash fired. And of course you can see the stark contrast, the difference, overexposed. We did not need a flash in the situation. But again, just the image detail that we're getting out of something that so many people will call a gimmick or something that's unnecessary just amazes me what Sony has done here. Really, they've come a long way from the QX100 that I reviewed last year. Again, diving deeper into settings, you have control of your focus mode, your lock-on, touch shutter, your actual still image size, the quality of what you're capturing, your aspect ratio, as well as megapixel count. So they do give you some decent options there as well. You also have the quality, whether or not you want RAW and JPEG, fine, or standard. So if I would have bumped this up to fine, we have even more image detail when I take that shot of the E-mount branding right there. Keep in mind, again, that this is coming off of a 10 to 18 millimeter wide angle lens. This is not a prime. I do have a 50 mil prime. I have many different E-mount primes that I could throw on here, as well as zoom lenses, including the one I'm photographing, that are all going to give you different experiences just as they would on a traditional body. And that's what's so unique about this, is that unlike the QX cameras of the past, the creativity really does expand or relies on what you've got in your stable of lenses. And if you've got them, you're going to have a lot of fun with this, especially with a pistol grip like this. I mean, a perfect pairing, in my opinion. Zoom settings, whether you want just optical or also clear image. I didn't mean to back out of that. As well as the size of the actual review image when you're viewing it. So you can go with the original, which obviously is going to be sizable. I'll show you what that's like. Let's go ahead and take a shot that will be full size. And you'll see the time difference in transfer. This was about a 4 or 5 second process. Maybe now it's twice that. But now we actually have the entire image. I missed my chance there. Took another shot because I still didn't turn off the touch to capture. But you'll see what the full-size image looks like right now. And you'll see there's even more detail than what we were getting. I mean, amazing that that is coming off of this tiny little thing. I mean, literally, that is the body right there, folks. And you can see the battery readout. Battery life is solid, by the way, for those of you that are curious. You can see Wi-Fi is enabled. It's right there on the display. I have a 128 gig micro SD card in there, and it works flawlessly. I really have no complaints. This was something that I really wasn't sure was right for me, and the more I use it, the more fun I have with it. And that's part of the beauty, is that are you enjoying what you're shooting with? And this is a really cool experience, I have to say. Does it offer tremendous advantages over traditional digital SLRs, mirrorless systems? No, but I think for street photographers, the form factor, when you don't have a pistol grip on it, it literally just looks like a lens, and you can definitely get candids that you would not get with any other camera. If only Sony had made a silent shutter on this, a leaf shutter like the RX1, excuse me. Maybe somewhere down the road. But back into settings. And this is what's great. The settings really have become far more robust. The size of the review image I went over, beep of connected device, you know, if you want that to actually beep when there is a connection or not. You also have your camera information, your ability to format, which we are not going to do. And, you know, last but not least, beyond the camera information, your review image duration, so the amount of time that you're going to actually review, your save options, your location information if you want to geotag your photos, your grid line if you desire to have it, you have the ability. And this is where Sony really made a QX for enthusiasts. This isn't just for the person looking to replace the camera on their phone. This is someone looking again to try to utilize this to every possible advantage and legitimately replace a digital SLR, even if they are working just with their phone. Because with a lot of the pancake lenses that are out there, the QX1 does really maintain an incredibly small form factor. Of course, throw on bigger glass, which I'm going to show you in a moment, and it begins to look like some sort of Frankenstein modular camera creation, which quite frankly could be the future of the industry for all we know if Sony is successful. And then mirror mode. So that will obviously display the monitor reversed, useful if you're filming yourself. So these are all interesting options. Great, you know, again, this is part of that selfie element of what's available there. In terms of the video side of things, which I also want to show you, of course, camera modes as well. You have intelligent auto, superior auto, program auto, aperture priority shooting, and shutter priority. So all of the modes you have come to expect traditionally. You can see it's automatically sensing that this should be macro because of how close the focus is right now. And you have all the readout of all your other information, you know, how many shots are remaining on the SD card, what mode of white balance you're utilizing, the autofocus. Everything is listed here, and you can control it nicely. You can jump into movie mode. Inside movie mode, you're going to have, again, a list of options. See in-camera images, your focus mode, your zoom setting, again, whether or not you want to use clear image beyond, meaning a digital form of zoom. Again, the beep control, formatting, your camera information, grid line, and mirror mode. That's pretty much it. So you don't have that extensive laundry list like you did in the still mode, but still you get at least something to look at. And you'll notice nothing else in terms of any kind of video capture mode. You're just set in this one mode, and if I go ahead and hit record, we are now capturing video. And again, in terms of what the actual I would say real-time lag is, there is that hesitation. If I bring my hand out, again, you'll see the hand flip. It's the best way of showing real time. It's very close. There's no question Sony has improved the experience with the QX line. Whether or not it's for everyone, though, still is certainly a question for each individual user. I think you're always going to be better off buying a traditional camera that suits your needs, but I know there are many of you that are Instagram-centric, Facebook-centric, Google Plus-centric, that don't want to carry around a camera, and if they could carry around something additional instead of a camera that's smaller, but especially in this case could give them digital SLR results. And let me go ahead and show you what it looks like though with larger lenses, then this may very well be the answer to what you're looking for. I'm going to stop that video recording, and again, that's 1080p at 30p, and basically that's saved to the SD card. You notice no transfer happening after we shot that. I'm going to go ahead and back out, take my phone out of the equation for a moment, and just show you what other lenses look like on this device. So I'm going to go ahead and power down, and you saw the pairing was no different than we had with things like the previous generations. The QX30 that's out now gives you a mega zoom option, which I think is nice, but clearly catering to a much different market. I mean, really, if you don't already own E-mount lenses, I don't think you're going to run out and buy E-mount lenses in order to use the QX1. But the form factor of the QX1, again, is just mind-numbing when you look at exactly how small that is. And to give you a little bit of perspective, as I put this wide-angle lens, which, by the way, remember, a 10 to 18 millimeter wide-angle lens like this, constant f4 aperture, to be this small is amazing. And it does work in full frame as well. But, again, just for reference point, if I pull out one of the smallest mirrorless cameras Sony has ever made, the 5R that I still own, here you go side by side. And the 5R is really compact, 16 megapixels. You've got 20 here. The 5R is several years old. It does have Wi-Fi, no NFC, access to all of the same Play Memory apps. You can do a remote control the same way we just did. The whole demo won't be as feature rich because this is designed for that. Uses the same battery. Battery life very similar. Video quality better here. But you can see there is a difference in form factor and size, but I would always recommend going with the real camera. I'll reiterate that over and over again. And that's why I think this is really best for those of you out there like myself who have a lot of E-mount glass, and really this is a lot better than throwing another body in a bag. In fact, this will fit where that body I just showed you will not. Forget about the pistol grip. But let's go ahead, just in closing, take a look at what it looks like with some larger glass for entertainment purposes only. And that's not to say that you can't use it with this glass. You absolutely can. But here we go. Now we're looking at the QX1 with the SELP 18-200. That is the power zoom, really a lens that hits the sweet spot for both video and still performance. With APS-C sensors. Of course, it can be used full frame, but it will crop. And no differently, you could easily attach the pistol grip here, although I would be careful. I mean, if you're using the pistol grip, which I have been, it's a great accessory, but remember, there's a lot of weight going on the mount here. And because this does not have a mount, specifically the SELP here, this is where the mount really should have been with any camera, frankly. Simply because of the weight of this lens in proportion to what used to be NEX and are now Alpha APS-C mirrorless bodies, but especially this one. I mean, if you thought the other bodies were small, this thing is literally a half-size coaster, and it's only a couple of inches thick, so or rather in length. So what you're looking at here really cannot. I wouldn't want to test this to hold this up, but if we wanted to take it a step further, really get wild here, let's go ahead and bring out the full frame 70-200, because this is as big a lens as I've got to throw on here. And I've also got the 50 prime, which is, as I drop the lens cap there, which is not a full frame lens. That is an APS-C lens, but as well as the Zeiss FE 24-70, which is also quite big to put on here. But you can see I'm having trouble fitting this in the actual shot. There you have it. I mean, so the QX1 has this versatility, and this is part of what really appeals to me. In the same vein, how many users are going to want this? Average users who don't own E-mount glass? That I can't really speak to as of yet. I need to spend more time with it, put it through more tests, but so far I really like what I see. It's more a matter of whether or not this concept hits home with you and if you already have that collection of E-mount glass. Even if you don't, though, picking up any of the pancake lenses are very inexpensive and will give you image quality that will far outclass anything you're going to buy in the point and shoot realm. And since it's only $400, with proper glass, you're looking at maybe closer to $600. I can see easily why Sony thought there would be a market for this, even outside of niche customers like myself with an E-mount collection, simply because a lot of people want digital SLR results without the bulk, and to have that integrated into your camera brings on an entire new concept of photo taking that plays right into this evolution of people thinking that cameras, at least standalone cameras, are dead in today's day and age. So delivering digital SLR results in, I don't even know what to call this. It's no longer a lens camera, folks, because there's no lens until you attach something like you see right now. And at least here, we could mount the grip on the collar, but I still wouldn't recommend using this. I don't see any real advantage. To me, the best use of this is either with my SEL 50 or the wide angle 10-18 that I just showed you. You know, compact, fast glass. Again, the prime, the 20mm primes, those pancakes, those are great lenses to use with this. And of course, other glass that is not Sony glass that you can shoot manual with, but that's going to be far more of a struggle because you don't have a traditional camera interface, but rather just a shutter button, which you can shoot blindly with, which is where I mentioned for street photography, anything where you aren't trying to disturb the subject beyond the actual shutter sound. This camera really, I would say, creates an entire new approach to that level, that type of photography that no other camera could achieve. The RX1, competent, but people still knew a camera was out there. Now, with a compact pancake lens on something like this, or even the 50 mil prime or the wide angle, it just looks like you're carrying around a lens. So that's really unique, and with a wide angle lens like the 10-18, very easy to shoot blind. So a lot to like here with the QX1, especially at the $399 price tag if you're already in the E-mount system. If you aren't, you have to carefully consider what you're willing to attach to this camera and at what price. But again, the smallest APS-C mirrorless camera ever made at one of the lowest prices, really catering to those of you that have E-mount lenses or are looking to take your camera picture taking and video taking capability to a digital SLR no compromise capability without the form factor associated. Again, right in line with what Sony has been doing with cameras now for the last 5+ years. So no surprise, trying to revolutionize even where people may not think they need it. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.